How the fuck do Jews living in Manchester, in Baltimore, in London, Toronto, or anywhere else in the world have anything to do with the military decisions or policy making of an independent state of which we aren't even citizens or taxpayers? I've been debating with myself whether or not I should address this, how I could address this. And apart from promoting this podcast, I've shied away from social media for years. And I've especially avoided talking about Israel or anti-Semitism in the UK. I'm now at the point where my silence on this topic is 100% part of the problem. What I am going to do is call out those people who, out of a mixture of ignorance and a desire to present themselves as following the trend of the week, are absolutely content with the idea of Jews worldwide living in fear of the communities they've actually helped build or contributed to for generations. Most Jews outside of Israel live where they live because their families fled violence or sought refuge from terror. I live here in the UK because my family fled pogroms in Eastern Europe before the First World War. My kids now are the fifth generation of my family to be born in this country. Our family has served in the armed forces, built doctors' surgeries, dental practices, helped design parks and town centres, taught children to read and write English, developed products to save the British countryside from environmental damage, given our flesh and blood literally to those on death's door in this country. Even put bubbles in aero, by the way, and still there are those who say we are not only not a welcome here, but that we're a lesser people, less than human, all under the tissue-thin protection of the very socially acceptable anti-Zionism. I'm a Jew, whether I like it or not. I could believe in Buddhism, Islam, or identify as a fucking Jedi, but that wouldn't stop my having to now explain to my 3 children that there are those who hate them, not because of their beliefs or their actions, but because of their ethnicity, because they're tainted. They're the untouchable, insufferable Jew. And this would all be upsetting on its own. But what makes it even worse is that many of my friends or connections are from all different backgrounds. Every background you can think of. I work every day with people from all over the world. And I can count on one hand the number of those people who've reached out to check on us or express concern for the rise in Jew hatred in recent weeks. So, a message to those of you who I've engaged with over the years, broken bread with, had in my home, laughed with, spent my time and my life with. How many of you shared black tiles on your social media in June 2020 after George Floyd was killed in the US? How many of you screamed your opinions during the Brexit referendum or the last general elections, or posted daily about how dangerous Donald Trump was, or about the immigrant children in cages at the US border? Why was it so easy for you to post photos of yourself clapping for the NHS on Thursday nights during the pandemic? Because I put it to you that if the matter at hand didn't directly affect you, then at the very least you looked or felt good for joining the latest virtue signal hype train. If you posted hashtag Black Lives Matter or hashtag Free Palestine or hashtag trans rights, but did or said nothing when Armenian Christians were being slaughtered last summer by Turkish-funded Azeri militants, if you kept your mouth shut about Uyghur Muslims being ethnically cleansed from China, if you didn't make a peep during the last decade whilst 250,000 Syrian civilians were being slaughtered by Bashar al-Assad's government, or were silent when people drove through our streets, the streets of Britain, waving Palestinian flags calling, "Fuck the Jews, rape their daughters," and beat the shit out of local rabbis for the crime of walking whilst Jewish, then just know that we, an ethnic group who isn't worthy of your concern, hear your silence like a fucking thunderclap.